just keep fighting, each and every game because it's any given Sunday.
Welcome to Mustard Cat Sports Challenge, folks. My name's Lucas TA. It is Halloween, and it is our 9th episode. We have another great guest, but before we get into the guest, and my squeaky chair that I need to grease up is Sean beat me last week. So I am 0-7 and 1 tie. So really doing just a banger job there. But Sean beat me, got 19 points out of 30. I came up with a solid 15, got half of them right. That's unfortunate. Really trying to get that one win before I hit 10 losses, so double digits. So I'm really trying to get that win. Like I said, it is Halloween. I am a Ninja Turtle, Michelangelo. If you have no clue what Ninja Turtles are, and if you don't know what Ninja Turtles are, you probably should just unsubscribe. So other than that, since it is Halloween, if you are a naughty kid or a naughty adult, you deserve getting candy corn, Mounds, or Almond Joy. You 100% deserve to get that. But my guest today is Ryan, and he definitely does not deserve any of those. Ryan?
I agree on the second and third one you listed, but candy corn is a little underrated in my opinion. I know a lot of people hate it. I don't think it tastes that bad. But yes, thanks for having me. I'm a big Mustard Cat sports fan.
Perfect.
I've been a part of a couple of your punishments in the comments. So it's an honor to be on the show. I really just hope I'm not the first one to lose. I don't plan on it. I did plenty of research today to make sure that wouldn't be the case.
Hey, well, I appreciate those punishments, but I do not appreciate the research. So I hope you the best of worst luck. And uh, who are you? Is that Sully?
Yeah, you can see I got this cheap ass Sully off of Amazon last year. Now that I'm a dad, I have to dress up in like little kid type costumes. This year I was Kristoff from Frozen.
Hmm.
But I thought I'd bring Sully back. If I make you laugh, that powers up my house. I'm
Oh,
like the Sully at the end of the movie, not the beginning. I'm not the scary one.
oh, okay, okay. I guess before we get into the questions, what would be your favorite Halloween candy? And maybe this isn't a Halloween candy specifically. Maybe it's just a regular candy. But
Yeah, well, we've actually gone trick or trunking with the kids a
uh,
couple of times. So we already have like a crap ton of candy in the house, and they can't eat it, so it's all for me and the wife.
hmm,
I've been picking out my favorites. I think it's got to be Reese's and Snickers,
okay.
classics. I'm not. I'm too old for the Starburst, the Skittles, the Laffy Taffies. I just can't do it anymore. What about you?
What about me? Well, I'm a sucker for Kit Kats and Crunch bars. I don't know. I really like that. Reese's are a weird thing for me. I either crave them and love to just eat the shit out of them, or I'm like, these things are gross, get them away from me. It just depends on kind of what kind of mood I'm in. But I obviously said in the beginning that Mounds, candy corn, and almond joys are absolute trash and should never be made, and or they should be made because they can be given to the bad children. But what is your worst candy, or do you not have a worst candy that you love them all?
I've really never liked almond joys,
Okay,
so I'm on board with you, on board with you on that one. Those are just disgusting. Nobody likes, well, some people like coconut, but in
yeah,
my candy, no, no.
I know it's a weird one.
I I don't know how you can ever not want a Reese's though. That's kind of weird. I'll admit I'll have one in a city, and it's not like I'm sitting here eating four of them at once, but
Yeah,
I mean, they're always delicious.
well, I love chocolate and I do love peanut butter. I don't know. So the regular, like not the big ones, but the regular size that you probably got, in trick or treating.
Yep.
Those ones are the ones I'm like, eh. But the little small mini ones, those ones, oh, I think it's just the perfect
Those ones do
ratio.
hit
Yeah,
hard.
for
Yeah.
me, I think it's just
Yeah.
too much peanut butter in the other one. I don't know, maybe not, but I'm a little crazy. So
The mini ones are the best ones, but any size is great. I'll take the giant one. Have you seen those?
I have seen. Um, well, Ryan, let's get into the questions so people can know who you are, Sully. Um,
I won't keep this up the whole time. It's getting hot already.
yeah, my legs are pretty hot, so this is a onesie, kind of like you. So,
Yep.
um, where are you from, and where do you live now?
Well, that's an easy one because it's both the answers are Rochester. I grew up here,
Okay,
graduated, I believe, a year after you from the same high school.
yeah, yeah.
And I went to Mankato for a few years, got a college degree, met my wife, all that fun stuff, and then came back home. So now I'm here raising kids and finally feeling like an adult.
You look like an adult in that thing.
Do I look tired? Because that's how I feel.
No.
Okay,
Um,
good, good.
well, obviously we have you on here because it's a sports show, podcast, whatever you want to call it. And what are your favorite sports that you like to watch?
My top two have always been basketball and football.
Okay.
I remember at a very young age getting football cards for the first time, and I fell in love with the collecting part of it.
Mhm.
I didn't watch it a ton until I was probably 8 or 9. Before then, I was just kind of like I would play outside while the Vikings were on. But when I
Yeah.
got to a certain point, I couldn't miss the game, and I'm still like that to this day. 20 years later. So football is always number one. Basketball, that was the sport I was the best at playing.
Okay.
So that's the one I played until I was the oldest out of any sport. Um, and now I'm obsessed with the Timberwolves because starting last year I just kind of got
Yeah.
into it a lot and they started winning for once.
Yeah.
It's been a long
Yes.
time coming. We're the worst franchise in any sport for win-loss percentage. So we deserve some fun in
Hmm.
Timberwolves land.
Yeah. No, I agree with you on that part. I love the Timberwolves logo. I the old one, the new one, everything
Yeah,
about it.
they really got to stop messing with the jerseys though, because the old jerseys were the best, and they need to bring those ones back. Although I do agree, all the logos are sick.
Yeah, yeah. They haven't, I feel like, done anything wrong with the logo. Like, yeah, I guess you could have a favorite, but I don't think they've done anything wrong with any of the logo part of it. But
Yeah,
obviously, baseball or basketball and NFL are your top two. Do you have any favorite team? Well, obviously, you said Timberwolves, but who are your favorite teams, or do you have favorite players?
yeah. So in basketball, I used to when was growing up, I was a big Dwayne Wade fan. So
Okay,
I always rooted for the Heat, and that
yeah,
was my team I followed. It was kind of a bandwagon move, but it was pre LeBron James, so
mhm,
it was Dwayne Wade that I really liked. So when LeBron decided to join the team, it just got really fun. Vikings in the NFL, it's always been the Vikings. Growing up, I was a huge Terrell Owens fan, though, if anyone
okay,
remembers him.
oh yeah,
In my opinion, top three wide receiver of all time. The guy was entertaining as hell, made plays
yep,
left and right, ate the popcorn afterwards,
yeah,
signed with the Sharpie. He
yeah.
was always a good time. I just loved his antics, and nobody else did, but he's awesome.
Oh, I 100% agree. I wish if he would have been in like the last 10 years in the NFL, I think he would have had so much fun because now obviously they can celebrate, they can have these fun little like gimmick stuff. Um, he's a showman for sure. And
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of like Anthony Edwards now. He's getting all this love for having a personality, and it's like, well, 20 years ago, nobody could have a personality
no,
without being called a distraction or
yeah,
a bad teammate.
yeah. And there's one thing I remember with Terrell Owens was I can't remember if it was on the off season, like coming into the season, or the off season right out of it. But when he was at his house lifting weights, and the press was there asking him questions, and he's just benching away outside.
Literally doing sit-ups in his
Yeah,
driveway because he was mad at his quarterback, Donovan McNabb or something. Yeah, that was insane. I remember I remember being like, what are sports? Like,
yeah. Like he Oh man, he was entertaining and he was good. Like he was just one of a kind wide receiver, and yeah, definitely missed.
He was truly an alpha. Give me the
Yeah,
ball, or I'm gonna be I'm gonna be kind of a bitch, but
yeah,
it's funny.
yeah. Um, any other um, players or teams that you enjoy?
Well, when it comes to the other sports, I don't watch a lot of like regular season, but
Mm,
I do check in on, the Twins in the Wild just to see how they're doing. The Gophers when it comes to football for college.
mm,
Um, I casually watch the other sports, especially when it comes to playoff time,
mm,
or college football if it's on, just because I love watching football in general. But I don't follow them to the point where I know everything, kind of like
yeah.
NFL and NBA. So,
Mm,
um, and growing up, I think you were going to ask this maybe. Growing up, I
yeah.
played baseball for 1 year, soccer for 1 year,
Mm.
and bowling for 1 year, and kind of rolled off them all. I wasn't very good at any of them,
What
and I
age
was
did you?
very young.
What age did you start it?
It was like first and second
Or
grade; those
second?
were
Okay.
in,
Yeah.
and soccer was like soccer's not bad,
Yeah.
but there just wasn't enough like scoring and excitement going on.
Hmm.
Um, and baseball, I would always hit grounders, and I would get on base a lot of the time, but I was never hitting any long shots, home runs, and
Hmm.
I just didn't think I had it, and I kind of gave up on that dream early.
Well, do you play anything now, or and if you don't, do you want to try and play something amateur
Yeah,
wise?
I'm in a golf league
Okay.
during the summers, so that's my main sport now. Now
Hmm.
that I'm unathletic and fat, but every once in a while, I like to try to get together with the boys and play some flag football or
Yeah.
pick up basketball, and like the old days, disc golf. That's not really a sport, but that kind of stuff. The more casual things now.
Well, if you want to sit down and talk about sports, like, oh man, like, uh, it probably could technically be considered a sport, disc golf. It's just, is it physically draining? Probably not. Probably more
Yeah,
mentally, if anything. But
I was listening to that conversation you were having last week,
yeah,
and I
yeah,
was like, beer pong, I wouldn't consider it a sport,
yeah,
but it's a fun ass game. So it's a game, not a
yeah.
sport.
Okay, all right. Well, the two hardest questions ever, because these are, and there's no in between. There's no picking both. Are you a cat person or a dog person?
It's funny you say those were hard questions because these are the easiest ones on the list. Dogs, easy. Dogs
Dogs.
are man's best friend for a reason.
Mm,
Cats are just creepy little critters that'll show up in my backyard out of nowhere. They'll creep in peep in my window.
yeah.
They're the only thing they're good for is getting mice, in my opinion.
True.
And also kittens are adorable. I'll give them that.
Okay,
But
so
dogs.
but you're saying so when it's a kitten, it's cute, great, and then once it becomes a cat, then it's like go hang out with the mice, get away from me.
Yeah, because they have these sharp ass claws. And when I was a kid, my grandparents' cat scratched me, and I just never forgave cats. The whole species was dead to me.
Perfect. Hey, that's fine with me. I'm a dog person anyway, so um mustard or ketchup, and you have to have it for the rest of your life, and you can't have the other. You can't have any other condiment. It's one or the other. What are you picking?
This one was even easier,
Easier.
and you're not going to agree with me on this one because it's ketchup. Mustard is gross. I hate it. So ketchup, easy.
All ketchup? You don't like any ketchup, or sorry, any mustard. There's no mustard
No,
out
I
there.
I don't put mustard on anything. So that was an easy choice for me.
All right. Well, um, all right. I don't disagree with you. I like ketchup, but I do enjoy mustard 10 times more.
That's fair.
So
I'm not a hater. I just personally taste
hey,
buds.
uh, hey, that's fine. Um, let's get into a little recap of last week, or what happened in the sports world, and then we'll get into some current events. um, in the baseball world, and as of right now, they are actually playing a game. But
The
previous,
Dodgers took the lead.
oh, did they? What's the lead?
Yeah,
Or what's the?
it's 7-6, bottom of the eighth.
7-6. Okay. So potentially the Dodgers could win tonight and they would win the World Series. If they lose, it continues on and then it goes to the Dodgers Stadium and they'll be at home. So we'll find out on that port. I guess, do you have any dog in the fight in this? Do you care who wins? Because I personally, I don't. I have no dog in the fight. I played the
Yeah.
999 challenge last weekend, which will be out most likely Friday. I just got to finish up the editing on it, but that sucked ass. But yeah, I watched the game and
I am really looking forward to your 999 challenge video. I've been waiting for it to come
yeah.
up because I saw your Snapchats and you weren't like dying, but you seemed like you were struggling a bit. You know, your
Uh,
stomach was probably pretty full.
yeah, on the seventh dog, it was not great. I did do a nice like eat just the hot dog
Hmm.
and then eat the buns later. So,
So you did eat the buns? Oh man. I told Megan, I was like, if I were to do that, I don't think I could do the buns with it. Like I could do 9 hot dogs and 9 beers, but
yeah,
9 buns? Oh,
I started off with classic hot dog bun, ketchup, mustard. Well, for you it would just be ketchup, but ketchup, mustard, and ate the first one like a normal person would eat a hot dog, and then I was like, I'm not gonna do this, you know, 8 more times. So I was like, I'll just eat 8 hot dogs, and I was just dipping it in the mustard, ketchup, back and forth. Finished all the dogs. They went down pretty smooth until about 7. Then I was like, you start getting this weird feeling in your stomach, like, oh, I don't want any more hot dogs. Like, I wasn't getting truly full. It was just more or less like, I don't want any more of this. Like, this is gross. And yeah, finished them. Then I started slugging on the beers, and I was like, okay. I was trying to let that sit, and I was feeling like crap. My parents came down a couple times to like talk to me. They're like, oh, you look like shit. And I was like, well, I just ate 9 hot dogs. And so once that kind of went down, then I was like, okay, I'm getting a second wind. I felt like that was kind of the buzz coming on because I was starting to get buzz from beer. So then I started eating just buns, which was a lot easier. But to do that at an actual game would be a totally different animal because the hot dogs I feel like are bigger and yeah. So
well, I think you had the right idea doing the buns at the end because
yeah,
as you were talking, I'm like, oh yeah, it's going to soak up the beer
yeah,
after the fact, and your stomach will be
yeah.
larger because of all the beer. So, but yeah, hot dogs aren't known for being, like the highest quality meat. So I'm sure your stomach didn't love you after that.
Well, I got the all beef.
Oh, okay. You were smart then. Okay. You could have got like the dollar pack.
No, I got the all
You might
beef.
have thrown up.
So yeah, but yeah, do you have any dog in the fight?
Yeah, sorry to answer your question. No, this was kind of, I think, like a lot of people that aren't a fan of these teams, this was kind of the anti-Dream
Mhm.
World Series where it's, oh, the two richest
Yep.
teams in the league. I don't know if that's actually true, but I feel like the Yankees and the Dodgers, they're always at the top of the payrolls. They're
Mhm.
buying their players, they're getting all the stars. So it's nice to have somebody to root for that's not of that, spending $1 billion on their team.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, if I had to choose a lesser of two evils, it's the Dodgers because
Mhm.
fuck the Yankees. They beat the Twins every year that we play them. So
Hey, yeah, I truly don't have a dog in that fight, so it is what it is. I guess while we're talking about baseball, let's talk about that fan. Did
oh
you
my
see
God.
did you see that fan that ripped that ball, that foul
Yeah.
ball that it was going to be, and then it turned into possibly an out. And he's a season ticket holder. It's been all over the news. For the most part, I don't know what I see from like the media side that they're un like don't care almost. Like they care, but they're like, oh, I guess it's part of the game. And then obviously Dodgers fans are just pissed off about that. And then Yankees fans are like, yeah, that's great. Let's continue that. And I guess my thought on the whole thing is I don't want the fans to interrupt a game. I get they want to catch the ball. I get all that. Like that's really cool to get a game ball. But for you to rip it out of his glove or open his glove up, that just I get he's a hardcore Yankees fan, but that's a no-no in my book. And apparently he's gonna get kicked out, but then I've heard also that the Yankees are going to give him a bunch of stuff, and possibly
Yeah.
he might
Oh
still be
man.
able to get into the game. He just might not be able to sit down there. So
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, I've never seen anything like that in baseball where there's been times where a fan interferes, and as far as I
yeah,
know, it's not against the rules or against the, being a fan to like try to catch a ball
yeah,
over
like
an outfielder, but to grab his glove, he could have hurt the guy who was holding him up and ripped the ball out of the glove. That was insane.
I
I
know.
don't know. I feel like he should be banned for life, and it's kind of crazy that people are praising him. Like that was a
Yeah.
completely dick move.
Oh yeah,
He should
like
not be rewarded for that.
no, like if if you're gonna do that, I think you just open Pandora's box and basically you start hiring these guys to sit down there and do that, like
Yeah.
like for real, and that makes it really gimmicky, but it makes it entertaining.
I w there was a small part of me that was like, man, if the Yankees win tonight, did he spur a comeback? Like he might have been the biggest Yankee hero of all time if like they came back from 3-0.
Yeah,
But no, I hope they lose tonight and just get it over with
just
because I don't want to have to worry about it.
continue. um, well, switching gears to NBA, their first week went done and over with, and now we got week two going now. Um, I personally, my two least strength is baseball and basketball. Um, just because I don't know, I've never had a dog in the fight. I've never just picked a team, so it's hard to watch something consistently if you don't have a dog in that fight. But do you have any surprises? Because I can name a few, but you are the top dog with
Yeah,
this.
I wrote down a couple after just looking at the standings, kind of paying attention to what's going on. But the Cavaliers,
Hmm.
I wrote down 4-0. They're now 5-0. They just beat the Lakers tonight.
Oh, did
And
they? Okay.
that was I believe that's a very, very young team. And I think
Hmm.
2 years ago they were near the bottom. Last year they were kind of up and coming, and now they seem to have come into their own already. Beating the Lakers by 24 is no small feat.
Yeah. No.
Because the Lakers, they always have the refs on their side. They're basically the Chiefs of the NBA. And then on the opposite side, the Bucks, they just seem like a mess. They have Giannis, they have Dame Lillard, they have a lot of good pieces, but they're 1-3, and Giannis is already talking about how they don't have an identity, and
Yeah.
they're the champions from 2 years ago, if I remember
Yeah.
correctly.
Yeah. I think it was about that because
Or three. Yeah, I think it was
yeah.
2 years ago. But yeah, them starting out so slow and already kind of being in disarray is a little bit surprising to me. And then just that the Western Conference in general is stacked, absolutely stacked. Like I
Yeah.
think the 13th place team or something is 2-2 or before tonight.
Yeah.
Um,
They're very very close.
yeah, everyone's really
Like
close because
yeah.
they're just beating up on each other. But I think the Timberwolves starting slow doesn't surprise me. I kind of expected them to be middle of the pack for a while
Mhm.
with all these new players we got, and the Thunder and the Mavs. And I don't know, the Nuggets. The Nuggets might not be in that conversation this year, but the Thunder and the Mavs are for sure the cream of the crop in the West, and the Celtics and Cavs in the East.
So my question for you, since you are a little more dialed in on the NBA and have watched more seasons than I have completely, but when is it time to panic? Obviously, they play a lot of games like baseball and hockey. Obviously, we're really early in the season, so you can turn your whole season around right now. Like obviously, the Jazz, they're the only team that hasn't won yet. Um, but like,
Oh yeah, the Pistons won tonight, didn't they?
yeah, so
Yeah, they were winless too. Yeah.
yeah.
In terms of
Like
panicking,
obviously is it time to like you can't, I don't think, panic now. You're still way too early in the season to do that, but you need to start, like for the Bucks sake, they need to kind of start
yeah. Well,
getting
I
some
would say
momentum.
like the very earliest would be like if the Bucks start like 1-9 or something after 10
Yeah,
games, if you're 1-9, like that's a big hole to dig out of.
yeah.
But it's still not. I don't know if that's still like panic, like oh the season's over, because
Mhm.
I'd be like in the NFL saying our season's over after 2 games because 10
Yeah.
out of 80 is about the equivalent of 2 out of 17. So you really can't until, I don't know, 30 to 40 games in that
Okay.
range. Or if your team just looks like a mess after
Mhm.
like 20 to 25 games and you're just on this huge losing streak and you're kind of losing hope that they can turn it around. So I'm hoping by game 20 to 25, the Timberwolves will look like the team they will going into the playoffs.
I gotcha. Yeah, no, I look forward to kind of following NBA a little closer now with all that we have going on with mustard cats and stuff like that. But it and it, I like having to start off in the beginning of the season like this so I can kind of see all this rather than we kind of started this a little later. I didn't get to see the progression through baseball as much, so it's kind of cool to see all this because my main two sports are obviously NFL and NASCAR. Hockey's kind of in between for me right now. I've followed it the last 2-3 years, but not hardcore. So
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
um,
I've been meaning to get more into NHL. I have one of the games on right now just
mhm.
to get a glimpse of it because I like going to the games. Those are
Yeah,
always a blast. It's
they
just
are.
nonstop action. It's like basketball where it's like scoring, hits.
Mhm,
There's not a ton of scoring in the NHL, but there's enough where
mhm.
when it happens, it's like, holy crap, that's awesome. People go
Yeah.
crazy at wild games.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, I've been to a few wild games that I I would say out of all the sports, like if you are a person like let's just say hypothetically you don't know anything about sports, I would say hockey is just the most like you don't even need to know what's going on and you're like, oh, like there's always something happening. Obviously they don't score all the time like basketball, but it just seems like they're always action. Like not that there isn't
Yeah,
action going
actually,
on basketball, but I don't know. There's just something about maybe it's the
yeah.
ice. I don't
Well,
know.
because it's basketball kind of fused with football in terms of the fast pace of basketball with the physicality of football,
Yeah,
and they're allowed to just drill each other up against the
that's true.
glass when it's legal.
Yeah,
But they're allowed to punch each other in the face when they want to
yeah.
sometimes. Like it's
Oh,
fantastic.
yeah. No, I I would love for the NFL. I would love for every sport to adapt the fighting aspect of what hockey has. Like obviously you can't have a big brawl, like break that up. But if you have two guys going at it, let them go at it until they're on the ground. I don't know. It that gets really violent, but damn, that would be like like
Well,
oh you would
NFL players
you would rile
NFL
the
players try to do it, but
yeah
they have their helmets. They're punching each other in the helmet, and it's what the hell are you doing? No, but I think you can't do that because in hockey they're on ice skates. It's easier for them to fall down. So
true.
I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, you're probably right on that. It's a pipe dream, but I can hope. You
I like it though. I like it.
know. Anything else on any thoughts on the NBA? Otherwise, we'll
Nope,
jump into some
just
NHL.
fingers crossed for the Timberwolves. That's it.
Okay, okay. Um, well, NHL has been going on now for 3 weeks, I think now 2-3 weeks, and I haven't watched a ton of the game, like full games. I've caught a few highlights and stuff. But obviously the Panthers, I think they lost yesterday, I believe it was, or was the day before, but they've been kicking fucking ass. Um, I need to mention the Avalanche. I'm not an Avalanche fan by any means, but Sam and Gary are big Avalanche guys. So if you ever notice the Avalanche or Nathan McKinnon um, up in there, they kind of run the hockey one majority of the time. And Nathan McKinnon has been doing really, really well. I think he's one of the only players that has scored every single game, away or home. The team hasn't come away with as many victories as they probably should. But yeah, I'm a Sharks guy, and
Sharks. Okay.
they are
They're
sucking. They
I
they are.
Yeah, I wrote them down. Sharks are terrible. 2-7-2 with a -18 goal difference. That's your team? I'm sorry. That I don't know what I haven't been paying any attention, but I specifically wrote them down as the worst team.
They are. They are. Statistically, yes, they are. I The only reason why I picked them is I just enjoy their logo. I enjoy their logo. I don't have any dog on their team that I'm like, oh, this guy, like, you know, like a Nathan McKinnon or I don't have that Cale McCarr. I don't have that guy. I just enjoy their logo. So maybe I'll eventually get away from them and find, someone that I do enjoy. But as of right now, that's my team. So thanks for giving me some depression for that.
I have always liked their logo too. When I was a kid, I didn't really care about hockey, but I just remember the Devils and the Sharks
Yeah.
were like these are the two
Devils.
teams I'll pick when I
Yeah.
play NHL.
Yeah. No, they have a good logo. I do root for the Bruins every once in a while, just
Mhm.
because up in Boston, Sammy Adams, I'm a sucker for that. Oh,
I was waiting for you to say
Sammy
his name.
Adams.
I'm drinking a Samuel Adams just for you.
Basically the same
Well,
people.
I did want to shout out the Las Vegas Golden Knights. I don't
Hmm.
they became a team like what 6 years ago or something. They've already won the
Yeah.
championship. They're like the best team in the league right now in terms of records with goal difference. They are getting their butts kicked right now, but it's crazy that an expansion team came in and is
Mhm.
already like the one of the best teams in the league consistently.
Yeah. No, I will agree with you. They won it last year, didn't they? I believe it was.
I think it
But
was last year, yeah.
yeah. Um, my uncle, I don't know, someone I'm related to. I don't really know him that well. He's actually security for them over there in Las Vegas.
Oh,
So
wow.
um,
That's really cool.
yeah. So I was gonna see if he can get me in there sometime. That'd be fun. But I don't know him that well. So uh, hey man. But yeah. I'm 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 optimistic about the Sharks coming back and not being the worst team in the league, but probably not a playoff team.
No, probably not this year. And it was 2 years ago for the Vegas Golden Knights.
Oh, it's 2 years ago. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Panthers last year.
Oh, Panthers. Same colors. Sorry.
I just whenever I watch the episodes and somebody says something wrong that I know off the top of my head, I'm like, no, it's not that, you idiot. And so I didn't want to be that, person. But
Well, they could just write it down in the comments and be mad. So, or just write a punishment, a good
oh,
one.
well, we know Barnes will be in the comments this week.
Great. Yeah. Hey, why don't you, Barnes? Why don't you say, hey, you should take that Vikings flag down because it's gross.
Great idea.
Uh, the Wild, they've, I feel like have been good. Not great,
Yeah,
just
yeah,
kind of middle of the road.
yep.
And I feel like
Yeah,
that's
that's about what I expect.
yeah. That's the Jets. They've been good. Uh, I think they lost the other day too, but they're like 9-1, so they're
Yeah, I did write them down too.
oh perfect. Yeah, they
Eight,
so
8-1 with a plus 18 goal difference. Very impressive.
yeah, no, they're a team to watch out for. The Blackhawks are pretty terrible right now, but it's early in the season.
They're my hockey Packers. I hate them.
Perfect. Well, recapping the NFL now. So the NFL season in general has been just absolutely ridiculous in my opinion. I don't know if you agree with that or not, but I don't know who wants to be the top dog. I don't know who wants to be consistent. I have no clue what these teams are doing, which is enjoyable because you don't know what's going on. But at the same time, I thought the Ravens were going to do really well and they were showing some strength, even the losses in the beginning, and now they just laid an egg to the Browns. It's like, and then now we have Detroit basically like on top of the world, and now I think they play the Packers this week, and if they lose, then it's like, I don't know who wants to be top dog. And obviously, the Chiefs are undefeated, but you can just look at them and they're absolutely atrocious quarterback wise. He's got more interceptions than touchdowns, and the refs are just all over them, and Andy Reid is just a damn good coach. Otherwise, they would be nothing. So
That's what sucks is it doesn't matter that Mahomes is playing like shit. They're undefeated,
I know.
and unfortunately, they're probably going to win the Super Bowl again unless a team like the Lions saves us.
Yeah,
Um,
well, I hope everyone's ready for that because enjoy the fun like NFL. Like I don't know who's gonna win until we get to the playoffs, and it's gonna be like, oh God, someone just take them out. Obviously, Chiefs fans will be like, let's keep going. But
oh, I
yeah,
know. I just want them to lose right
yeah,
away in the
like
playoffs because I'm sick of them
let's get them
too.
out of
But
there.
I did want to point out that the Ravens didn't lose to a bad team. You said Browns like it was bad, but this is the Jameis Winston Browns, okay? The Deshaun Watson's gone. He's hurt. I've never celebrated an injury until last Sunday. Hate to admit it, but Jameis Winston's awesome. I actually predicted the Browns were going to win last week. So if that tells you how good my picks are going to be, you should be scared.
Well, I didn't even put that one on the docket last week because I was like, no one's gonna pick the Browns. No one's gonna pick the Browns. And yeah, I was wrong. I texted Sean. I was like, when I was watching the game because I watched it on Red Zone, I'm like, holy shit, these guys are actually competing. Like, what is going on with the Ravens? And I was like, we should put this one on there because there was a few games that were on there. I was like, these shouldn't be on here. But
Yeah, the Titans probably shouldn't have been on there. I
yeah,
think the Browns would have been a better. You got to put all the divisional matchups. That's your lesson because they can go either way no matter what happens. Like no matter how good or bad a team is.
true, true. Well, this year you can put every freaking game on there because you don't know. No one wants to step up. You can be great. Like the Washington Commanders look really good, but and they're looking very strong, but they'll probably lose this week, and then it'll be like, oh, I don't know, maybe,
Lose to the Giants. Oh
yeah,
God.
maybe. Oh, I will say this, and I don't agree with Vikings fans really ever. I'm not a Vikings fan. That's just a flag I had to put up. I was forced to put it up. That face mask at the end of the game of Minnesota's, and there might have been a few other penalties, but I not nor here, not there. I don't care about those ones. That face mask was blatant, and that ref should either have to quit or go to the eye doctor, and that eye doctor better say that he's blind because and the fact
Uh,
before you start, and the fact that we now have New York that will review stuff that and I love that. I love how they can kind of overturn the refs because that's great. It does slow the game down a little bit, but it brings more legitimacy to the game because
mhm.
I would rather have that happen than that fan base to be pissed off and be like, well, that changed the whole trajectory of the game. Like I would rather have the game slow down a little bit just to have more legitimacy. But
Yeah, they're usually pretty quick with it too.
that was a face mask. That was a face mask, and that guy should be locked away in federal prison.
Yeah, there was so many pictures of the ref right behind him, and then another ref right over here
Yeah,
with clear vision to him. And they came out with a statement after the
and
game
his
and
head's
said
like
they
this.
couldn't see it. Yeah, and they said they couldn't see it. Okay, okay.
And
Yeah, like you said, there was some really bad calls earlier in the game, and those are forgivable if you call everything like the same. Like if you call it shouldn't even be a question. And the fact that a face mask under 2 minutes, like a face mask like that,
yeah,
isn't reviewable automatically, like it's against the rules to review
yeah,
it, so they couldn't
yeah.
overturn it if they wanted to. That is so frustrating. That needs to be changed right away.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
bullshit. It's not like that's not like a holding call or defensive pass interference where it's very subjective. This is something that either happens or it doesn't.
Yeah.
Like
No,
what?
it and especially in today's world where everything relies on technology and everyone can see it and everyone can Monday morning quarterback the next day. But if I as a fan can see it and they can do a replay and you can see it clear as day, and you saw the defender after he ripped it off go like this, like, oh no, I fucked up. And then they don't call it. Like
Did you see what he said after the game?
I didn't see what he said,
He
but
said, I put my hands, he was joking, but he said, I put my hands on my ears because it was so loud in the stadium.
but like that's just that's a shame on the refs. That's a shame on the NFL because that looks bad. That's as bad as I don't know if it was this year or last year. Anytime the Chiefs have been in the playoffs and got to the Super Bowl, there's been questionable calls that you can clearly see. And obviously, there's a time and a place when it's like just let the guys play it out. But if you can clearly see it, on the screen and they replay it, you as New York, as the NFL, need to step in there and be like, whoa, 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 we can't end like this, because that you just manipulated the game. And like you said, yeah, there's some probably plays and referee stuff earlier in the game, but that's kind of earlier in the game, and you take it or leave it. But you can't end a game like that. Like there should be a rule: 5 minutes or less. If there's a controversial call, and it's not like they just need to make the rules. They're the sanctioning body. You make the rules. It's your league. Plain and simple. You die by the sword, and that's how it is.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I
So
I
that's the one
it's
time
it
I will agree with Vikings fans.
because it's still like a 5% chance that we actually go down and score a touchdown, and then a 50% chance that we get a 2-point conversion, whatever. So it probably we wouldn't have won anyway, but the fact that it ended on that just doesn't seem
Yeah,
fair. And we
no,
would have had the ball, at the 25
yeah,
or whatever after that call, and who knows?
yeah.
But you can't just be like, oh, safety, game over,
Yeah,
when he clearly got his face mask pulled.
yeah. No, there's a lot of things that have to happen, but you can't end a game like that. And
Yeah.
kind of rolling into the next thing that I want to talk about, and it's not as big of a deal because the Steelers. I don't know if you saw that play. Was it Peterson? Can't remember the guy's
Pickens.
name. Who?
Pickens,
Oh,
the
Pickens. Yeah,
receiver.
yeah.
Yeah.
He caught that ball in the back of the end zone, had his feet in, and then he's falling to the ground on his freaking butt, hit his butt, and then all of a sudden it was like, oh, and then his hands were on it, and it was like he barely, like you can go back and watch his hands literally do like this, and the ball like goes, and they called it not a touchdown. Obviously, in hindsight, it doesn't matter because the Titans or Steelers won. But let's just say hypothetically, the Steelers lose. What
Yeah.
like I just the thing that pisses me off is they originally called it a touchdown. Then they go back and review it. I don't think there's enough evidence to say he bobbled it, in my opinion,
So
because like
I didn't get the impression that it was the bobble. I got the impression that it was because he tapped the same foot down twice, and it wasn't two different feet or a knee or an elbow. It was one foot, and it only counts as one foot, and it has to be 2 feet in bounds. And I think that rule sucks because if you tap the same foot in bounds, I think that should count as 2 feet. Because
yeah,
did you see it? He tapped his
no,
right foot and then his
I guess
right foot again, but his left foot came out of bounds, and that's what they called, is that he
that's what
didn't
they
catch
call
it
it.
in bounds.
Okay, well, I was focusing on other parts,
Still,
and
it was still dumb.
yeah,
Don't get me wrong. Like
like
I think the rule should be changed, but
yeah, but it's stuff like that where it's that like it's difficult. It's difficult. Don't get me wrong. Monday morning quarterbacking is the easiest thing ever, but you have to figure out like obviously the Des Bryant thing started this whole thing. The whole catch.
oh my God.
What's a catch? But that's the thing that originally started it all, and it just you called it a touchdown originally. I don't know. I think that's a touchdown. Like I clearly think that's a touchdown by any
Yeah,
means.
that's another rule they should
So
change is if you
yeah,
get the same foot in twice, counts as 2 feet, right?
yeah,
Like that's simple.
yeah.
Should be
It,
pretty straightforward. By the way, it's official. The Dodgers are World Series champions, so
oh wow.
that one's
Well,
over.
well, that guy is definitely uh not welcome back to the stadium because they're done.
It didn't work, you asshole.
Well, there we go. Yeah, so I don't know. That kind of frustrated me. I don't know if you have any other gripes throughout the last week NFL, but that was
No,
kind
I
of my
mean, yeah, with the NFL, those two calls were the big ones that were like, okay, rule changes, let's make them now because it's
yeah,
kind of stupid. Like you said, anything under, let's say 5 minutes, 2 minutes, whatever they want to
yeah,
do. But if it's like a game-winning drive, you got to be very sure that it was the right call.
hmm
You can't just leave it up to the human error, they say.
Yeah,
Like I get it, like that's what part of what makes sports, like the
yeah,
human error of a ref. But something that egregious, and same thing with the George Pickens double toe tap. It's like that should
yeah.
count as 2 feet. But it was a fun NFL weekend overall.
Oh,
Like the Hail Mary, we should talk about that. Did you see that?
oh, yeah. I've watched that a few times, and uh, it's comical and embarrassing at the same time because obviously he's really into the game, as in with the fans, which is great because I love players that incorporate the fans, like don't ignore them. Like obviously that's kind of the premise is to ignore them. Um, I think a lot of great players, specifically wide receivers, T.O. was one of them, Chad Johnson,
Mm,
um, even Randy Moss.
yep.
They kept the fans in it, like they interacted with them for the most part. There's many others that have done that too, but uh, I love people that interact with the fans, good or bad. You know, it's great. But he obviously was too focused on the fans and forgot he had to play football. And then he's the one to tip it and get the,
Oh,
and get the
when
Hail
I
Mary.
when I read that, oh my God. You know what it reminded me of
Huh.
was the Minneapolis Miracle. Sean Payton was doing the skull chant about a minute before that happened, and
Mm.
it was like instant karma, boom. By the way, fuck Sean Payton. I have to say it once.
Yeah, I don't really like that guy either. His face pisses me off exactly like what the hell's his name? He used to be the coach for the Seahawks.
Pete Carroll.
Yeah, him and that munch and that goddamn gum. God damn, those two. Like, I dislike the Vikings, but I don't think I've ever disliked their coaches. But those two coaches specifically just drive me insane. I don't know why.
Yeah,
They just do.
you'll never unsee it when I tell you, but Sean Payton has a butthole for a mouth.
Great,
Look at him.
great. Next time I do that, thanks a lot. Um, yeah. So
Moving on.
yeah, moving on. Uh, the other uh sport that was going on was NASCAR. It was at Homestead, Miami. Was a phenomenal race. Um, Probably one of the best races of the season. The NASCAR people went a little too crazy for it. I enjoyed it. I think it was a good race. I don't think we need to prop it up on a pedestal and say it was the greatest race ever because the car sucks. And NASCAR fans, and I will get into it a little later, um, are some of the worst 10-second Tom people ever. Because next week or this week we go to Martinsville. It's a short track. The car will not perform, even though they're bringing in a softer tire, and they'll be pissed off. They'll be pissed off. Well, they might not be because it's a really close battle, but it's almost like they have split personality. And I don't know. I'm a diehard NASCAR fan in the fact that I love racing and I follow for a driver, hence Kyle Larson. I feel like if you don't have a driver or if you don't have a team in general and you're just watching a sport, you're like Rob Lowe wearing an NFL hat. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm a Packer fan and I love watching Aaron Rodgers, but I'll watch other, NFL games. But I'm usually watching it for the benefit of those two people, for the benefit of the Packers or the benefit of Aaron Rodgers. I'm not watching an NFL game because I'm like, this better be a good game. Otherwise, I'm going to be pissed off. But that's on NASCAR fans. Not all of them, but a majority of them run their lives nowadays. In the last 10 years, it has completely flip flopped. And that's how a majority of them run their lives. It drives me absolutely insane. And I don't have the numbers on it, but I feel like it's at least 40% of the people like that are pissed off about it because they don't follow a specific driver. And when you don't have a driver or you don't have a dog in that fight, a lot of races are going to be shitty because this car is shitty. So that's all I'll say on that point. But I have been putting together a very, very nice video that I will hopefully have out by the end of the season, because it will be a long one, but it discusses a lot of those minute details and all these little details that add up to why NASCAR is struggling, and and how they should fix it. Because no one ever has a reason or an explanation why and how they should go about it. They're always like, "Well, the car's shitty, but I'm not an engineer and I don't know how to do it." That's everyone's fucking excuse. And it's like, well, I'm not an engineer either, but I'm pretty sure I could throw some fucking things at it and it would probably help. So I don't know. That's
Yeah,
that's my
so
gripe.
I in my research of NASCAR this week for the probably the first time in my life, tell me about the end of this race because it sounds like it was a crazy
So
finish.
yeah, so it was a good finish. What all made it a great finish was the move that Kyle Larson tried to do on Ryan Blaney about 10 laps before. So it was like, I believe 12, 11 to go. Ryan Blaney is this one. Kyle Larson's this one. They're following each other. They're running multiple different lines, because if you're right behind a car, uh, you get bad air and you can't pass anyone. So that's why this track's so amazing, because you can spread out and run different lines. That's why it's an amazing track. The more lines you can do, the more racy it is. That's why we're going to Martinsville, which is a paperclip, and you follow each other. You can't separate yourself, so it's going to be a shitty race, car wise. That's why. But Kyle Larson dives in the corner. They're lapping a car. So this one's Kyle Larson. There's another car on the outside of Kyle, and Kyle dove in under the 3 car to try and get up next to the 12 car, Ryan Blaney, to run him on the outside, because Kyle was getting really good runs on the outside. And if he would have cleared that move, which 9 times out of 10, Kyle Larson does crazy moves like that, he'll make that move. And that's why he's considered one of the best drivers out there. And that's not just me saying that because I'm a Kyle Larson fan. You can look at the facts and see that he has 6 wins on the season, the most of anyone. So he puts himself in these situations more than anyone else, and it usually comes out victorious. And if that would have happened, he probably would have passed him, or they would have continued battling and it would have been over. Not that exciting of a finish, but I still think it would have been a good race overall. But didn't happen. Kyle Larson went in, spun out, tapped Blaney just a little bit, corrected himself, and then lost it. Caution comes out. Tyler Reddick, who was the winner, just pitted like 3 laps before. Tires do matter. So the newer tires that you have, the better it is. But he stayed out. Everyone else pitted. He was the leader. They restarted with, I believe, 3 or 2 to go. Got going. Tyler Reddick got passed like right away. Denny Hamlin got by him. Blaney got by him. Denny Hamlin went in the corner, was leading, and then Blaney got around him. Then it was coming to the last lap. Blaney was ahead. Denny was right there, and Tyler Reddick was coming. And Tyler was running that high line like Larson was. They're probably one of the only 2 people that can not run it, because everyone can run it for the most part. But they just have a really good talent at running the wall, and you can get really good momentum around that top line. So obviously, when you go in a corner, you got to slow up. You got to let it turn. When you go into the corner up high, you dive in there, but then you can pick up the throttle. It's obviously a wider radius, but you're carrying more speed. So then when you get on that straightaway, you're just more horsepower, not more horsepower, but you have more momentum, and then you have a higher speed limit by the end of the straightaway compared to the guy that drives the bottom. But Reddick got around Denny, and then they're coming into the last turn, and Blaney didn't protect the top, which again, it's easy to say Monday morning quarterbacking. He probably should have, but I think Tyler Reddick just sent it off in there and got a hell of a fucking run on the outside and went by and passed him fair and square. And that's Michael Jordan's team. It was fun to see Michael out there. I don't know if you saw any of the highlights. Tyler Reddick is a very short guy. I think he's like 5'6". He's really short, like Kyle Larson. And Michael Jordan picked him up like he was a child. And so it was a great end to it. And it was a great race. That should be the end race, It used to be the end race. It's not the end race anymore, but it was overall a very good race. I'm not going to put it up on a pedestal because I don't think it deserves it specifically, because there are a lot of issues that need to be addressed, and you can't just keep band-aiding it just because you have a good race and then people forget about it. 10-second toms. So,
Sure.
but great race.
So yeah, so I was reading Blaney, he ran out of gas in another race. Was he going to win that race? I don't know if you remember what I'm talking about. It was sometime this season. It sounds like this guy's just got terrible luck. Like he could have won a couple races.
Yeah, so Blaney's had some bad luck this year. He's had like the most DNFs, not of his doing, just people either getting into him or car troubles. It truly doesn't matter though, because the playoff system that NASCAR runs now, once you get in the playoffs, it's a totally different animal. Basically, you just need to go for wins because that transfers you on to the next round, the next round, the next round. You don't really have any mulligans. Really, the only person that had a few mulligans was Kyle Larson because he had such a huge lead because he had so many playoff points racked up, which I'd love to explain, but it's going to take way too long to explain how the playoffs and the point system works. And that's what sucks, because if new people want to come in, they're like, how does this work? It's like, well, let me get out an easel and let me map it out for you, and maybe you can figure it out, because I don't know if you have ever tried to go on and figure it out. There's not really even a good video out there that explains it.
Yeah.
So
That was my issue. I was looking at standings and I'm like 4,102 points. I think it has something to do with like laps led, races won, position you finish. I don't know, but that's just my guess.
it's very, very, very confusing. So let's just cover this right as we're talking about it, because it pisses me off. I feel like I'm getting red in the face because it pisses me off. It just pisses me off. So the non-playoff standings that I sent you, um, the picture of that's what the point system should be. So this is without any playoffs. This is just a full 36 races playing out. If they were to do that, and I'm not saying they should do it just because Kyle Larson's leading, but look at how close it is. Kyle Larson is leading. Christopher Bell would be 6 points behind. Chase Elliott would be 24. Tyler Reddick would be 32. William Byron would be 47. And Denny Hamlin 6 would be 107. And just to put this in context for you, Ryan, in a race, the most points that you could gain on someone if they finished basically dead last is 60 points. So the top 5 are all in it, like 100%. Like they could snatch it from someone in one race. Denny Hamlin's basically 2 races out, and Ryan Blaney's 109. He's 2 races out. So basically the top 7 are still in this with 2 races to go. So, and that's what NASCAR is about, is you're racing 38 other people in a given race, and the playoffs should not live in that area. It's confusing. It doesn't make sense. And you should never, ever compare a racing series to a ball and stick sport. F1, which I'm not a huge fan of, but it's racing, so I have watched it. They have a normal point system. It's easy to understand. Yeah, it if they were going to do a playoff system like a ball and stick sport, when you get to the playoffs, you need to cut all the people that didn't make it. They can't come to the race. That
doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
That's what I was wondering. Are these people, they're still racing, but they can't win?
Well, they can win, but they can't win a championship.
They can't win the championship.
No,
yeah. So what's the point of them being there?
Yeah.
It'd be so cool to just see like the top 8 or what, I don't know, however many people make it, but the top 8 racing, like that'd actually be fun.
Well,
because then it wouldn't be such a fucking mess to watch.
Oh, no. It starts off top 16, then it goes to 12, 8, and then the final 4, which I truly, and I'm not the only one that thinks this, hates the playoffs. But if you're going to do the playoffs and you're going to be like a ball and stick sport, then be like a ball and stick sport. Cut off the people. If they're not in it, they don't make the playoffs. Sorry, pack your bags, pal. Like, I don't care if your sponsors are mad. Hey, you didn't make the playoffs. Get better next year. Like that's what
Yeah.
I've never comprehended that. And every analyst of NASCAR always tries to compare ball and stick sports with NASCAR to try and bridge that gap with people trying to understand it. It's like, no, just explain to them what, like, anyone that loves the playoffs would hate going to a local track, like a local dirt track or a local asphalt track. They would hate it because those guys run normal point systems. They would be like, well, who's gonna get in the playoffs? Or, like, they wouldn't. It's mind numbing bullshit, and it drives me insane. And what drives me the most insane about it is the fact you can't compare it to the legends of the sport. So the NFL, you can compare people now to the legends back in the day. This It's basically the same style of play. It hasn't changed much. They added one extra week, which does kind of corrupt some of the stats, but in general, it stayed the same. But you can't compare any of the people that have won a championship in NASCAR in the last 10 years with anyone prior to that. Because Dale Earnhardt never ran this. Richard Petty never ran this. Jeff Gordon ran it a little bit, but all of his championships came in a different era. So you just you fuck yourself into a corner, and you're like, you can't compare. There's no comparison to it. And as a sports fan, as a person that enjoys to compare, the next generation, you can't. The only thing you can compare it to is wins now. That's the only thing you can do. Wins. So that's your championship, basically. Just compare wins.
Yeah.
So
Jeez.
I don't know.
Yeah, that has to be frustrating as a fan of the sport that
Yeah.
things are just so different that there's really no comparison.
No, there's
So
not.
I don't
And
blame you. I'd be frustrated.
it's frustrating. It's frustrating. So that's my gripe. Yeah. I try and stay as even keel as I can because I've made some videos and they're still out there, and I get pretty upset. And I'm like, these people are fucking dumb because it's like you guys brainless lemmings. But yeah, it is what it is. But let's get back into it. Let's go to current events. So bye weeks for the NFL, the Steelers and 49ers are off. So they're off this week. Stephon Diggs, ACL tear. So he's out for the season, which I think is pretty big for the Texans, even though they still have some weapons, but that's a pretty big target, even though he is a complete douche canoe. But
I was gonna say, yeah, Diggs is a diva. I don't like how he left Minnesota, but damn, he's a good receiver. And with the bye weeks, the Steelers, I mean, Russell Wilson has completely revamped that offense, and now they're
yeah,
finally scoring a lot of points, and they don't just have to rely on the defense. So they're going to be a threat, I think, going
mm-hmm.
forward. And then CMC might come back after the bye.
Yeah,
So fantasy owners, if they have him and they have a winning record, they might just go win the championship now.
yeah, no, you're not wrong. And I love that Russell Wilson does not have Broncos country. Let's ride. So
That was so cheesy. He was so bad on the Broncos that I had no faith he was gonna do anything on the Steelers, but he's still not great. He's not as good as he used to be,
no,
but he's throwing it to Pickens, and that's
it,
what you need to do on that team.
yeah, no, I don't know how to explain Russell Wilson. He's not bad by any means. I wouldn't say he's great. Back in the day, he was very good. Um, but he's definitely a quarterback like a Brock Purdy that if he can get into a system that works, he can look like a genius. So
Exactly. Yeah. He used to terrorize the Vikings for years because he used to be really mobile and he's
yeah,
not really anymore. But my God, he used to escape sacks that seemed like
yeah.
sure things, and it just pissed me off to no end.
Um, well, the other injury that happened, or a new notable injury, was Jordan Love. He had a groin injury. Malik Willis came in and That guy, if he doesn't get scooped up next year, I will be surprised because anytime he's come in 4 games, and one was the first game with the Philadelphia Eagles. They ended up losing, but that was at the very, very end. So I would consider that not even really to count. But if you count the other 3, he's 3-0. So he's
I mean, you were talking about system quarterbacks with
I
Russell
know.
Wilson, and I immediately thought of Jordan Love
Yeah.
because Malik Willis was absolutely terrible on the Titans, and Matt LaFleur is making him look competent. So if you want to talk about, who's relying on their coaching and scheming, I think Jordan Love is one of those candidates.
I I have actually I will agree with you to a point. I have not been on the Jordan Love train like everyone else. I've not. It hasn't been something, and it's nothing against him. It's more against the Packers front office. They pissed me off for like probably the last 8 years. Basically, when they got rid of Jordy Nelson, that pissed me off. But even though it wasn't fully their fault, but they do run the show, so um, that pissed me off. So I've always had a little grit against Green Bay, the front office specifically. But when Matt LaFleur came in, don't get me wrong, they did good, but Aaron Rodgers started to kind of struggle. And Aaron Rodgers is not a system quarterback. He is not. Never has been, never will be. He has his own way that he does stuff, and it's kind of an older way. And I 1,000%, and this is not a huge dig to all the quarterbacks now, but I think a lot of quarterbacks now are system quarterbacks. And
Yeah, you look at Minnesota,
mhm,
49ers, Packers.
mhm,
There's plenty of teams where it's clear that the offensive scheme is making the quarterback look better than they are.
mhm,
Sam Darnold was trash on the Jets. He was pretty bad on the Panthers, and then he looked pretty good on the 49ers. Now he looks good on the Vikings. It's
mhm,
like, what's the common denominator there?
yeah,
It's these good schemes getting receivers open because these guys they're all talented. Like
mhm,
they can all throw the ball. It's just, what's up here and can they translate it? And these offenses must just be easier to follow. And
yeah,
you're right, Aaron Rodgers he's kind of an OG. He does things his way. Clearly, he runs the Jets now.
he
He went
does.
he went and got Devontae Adams.
He does.
But
Uh,
I'm actually rooting for them. I I think that the fact that they lost to the Patriots last week was rough, but
it
I
was.
do think they'll get it going. I don't know if they'll make the playoffs at this point, but I do think they'll finish closer to like 8 wins than
Yeah,
4 or 5 wins.
yeah. I so obviously football is a team sport. You can't always just narrow it down to one fucking person because there's always like, hey, we could have did this better. You could have, not thrown an interception. You could have not fumbled it. You could have ran your route better. You could have. There's so many other things, but and this is just throwing the kicker underneath the fucking bus. But the Jets kicker, if he would have just made his kicks last week, the week before, and I think it was if it wasn't the third week, it was the fourth week. But basically, the last 3 to 4 weeks, if their kicker would have made all the kicks, and I'm not even saying 3 points, the extra point, they probably wouldn't have lost those games.
Yeah,
And
it's crazy. Greg the Leg Zerline now is garbage. I mean, it's crazy. He used to be the best kicker in the league. I mean, Justin Tucker,
yeah,
obviously, but even Justin Tucker now, look at him. He's missing kicks left and
yeah.
right. They're just
So,
falling off a cliff.
oh yeah, and so like I'm not blaming it all on him because it's a team sport. Like you can look into other aspects where they could have cleaned stuff up, but if he would have done his job, and I don't even know what his percentage is on kicking, but it's probably pretty shitty because he's missed a lot. And if he makes those, they're probably sitting with 3 extra more wins now rather than 2-6. And
Yeah.
and
Sorry.
um, they definitely Aaron Rodgers is definitely a love hate thing with the media. People that are fans of his different, but the media it's love hate. They either love that guy or they hate him. The media does, and when he does all this stuff where he's hiding in dark rooms, or he or he's getting Devontae Adams or getting whatever old Packer player he wants, um, and it and they're losing, he's the devil. He's the devil, and he's the cancer that lives there. And if those kicks were all made and they won all those, they would be praising him. And that's the dumb thing. Like Aaron Rodgers know like, and that's what drives me nuts. Like just because they're losing, and I just think the Jets are cursed. I think they are fucking cursed. Their last time they won was 69 was the Super Bowl. The last time they were relevant was when Rex Ryan was running that fucking show back in 2009, 2010. And that's when they made it to the playoffs that one time. Otherwise, besides that, they're complete garbage. Like, they've never been good.
No matter who they draft. Well, Garrett Wilson's good, but they drafted Denzel Mims a few years ago.
Yeah.
Complete bust. Sam Darnold for them was a complete bust. And now Aaron Rodgers,
Yeah.
he's not following up very well so far. I mean,
Yeah.
his stats haven't been very good, you have to admit. I
No,
think
but they haven't been.
there's been a lot of factors to
Yeah.
it, but he hasn't been nearly as good as I expected.
No, his numbers aren't anywhere near like what Aaron Rodgers' numbers are. But if you look at him compared to the NFL, he's not bottom chart. He's like
No.
middle, and you wouldn't expect that from him by any means. But uh, even Brett Favre, when he went to the Jets, didn't do good.
Yeah, and then he came to the Vikings, he was amazing. And
So
and the Jets, like to your point of it being a team sport, their defense has been amazing. They were like I think it
yeah,
was 3-1 or 2-2 when they started last year with Zach Wilson
yeah,
after Rodgers got hurt.
yeah,
And they started out much better
yeah.
as a team. So for some reason the defense all of a sudden sucks. It's like, what
I
is
know
going
they
on
fell
there?
apart. Yeah. So and yeah. So I'm just convinced that they're cursed. Kind of like Minnesota has that little curse, like they can never win a Super Bowl, but at least Minnesota can be good, make it to the playoffs, have a good season, and then maybe give you a heartbreak. The Jets are just trash. They're just like, you know what?
The Jets don't even
You,
bother getting people's hopes up.
yeah, we're not even gonna try. Like last week with the New York or the New England Patriots, if they would have won that, that would have been the first time that they swept the New England Patriots both games since 2000.
Since what, pre-Tom Brady?
Yeah. Well, I think Tom Brady was on the team, but he wasn't the starter. That was
Oh,
when
sure.
Bledsoe was the main
Yeah,
quarterback.
yeah.
But we're talking 24 years since they've swept. Like
This
that's
was the year to do it. The Patriots are terrible.
they've been terrible the last like 2-3 years.
Yeah, they have.
uh,
Yeah, this
but
was the year.
but yeah, so getting off on that tangent over there. Well, we kind of talked about the Chiefs. The Chiefs are perfect. They can't do anything wrong. So I hope you guys are ready for a Chiefs Super Bowl because they're going to win. So you better put your money down on the Chiefs because the refs love them. The NFL loves them. Taylor Swift loves them. Everyone loves them except for the other 31 teams and their fans.
I was looking at their schedule today, and they're not going to lose this week. Next week they play the Bills in Buffalo,
They'll
and
beat
I was like, okay, that's a potential loss. But after that, they have one of the easiest schedules I've ever seen. The only other hard game they play is at the Steelers in Week 17. So there's a potential we could be looking at a 15-0 Chiefs team going into Week 17 if they don't lose to Buffalo. If they don't lose to the Steelers, they might go 18-0 or 17-0,
them.
and we'll see what happens in the playoffs. I hope if they end up making the Super Bowl at 19-0 that they get New England Patriots and somehow lose because that would be amazing.
Well, the only way that's going to happen is if someone somehow gets Eli Manning to come out of retirement because that guy, he was not a great quarterback, but goddamn, you got that guy in the playoffs, and that guy turned it on. Only guy that could do it. It was like a light switch. Hey, look it.
Yeah, one of the most clutch quarterbacks of all time. Though and some of those passes that were caught, the helmet catch, the Manningham, I think it was the sideline catch. It was like,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
They were truly teams of destiny.
Yeah. No, they, yeah. So, uh, I hope the Jets or the Chiefs eat a dick. But they, if they just, you know, wanted to just quit, I'm fine with that. Like, let the other teams fight it out.
Yeah, maybe Mahomes will retire
Maybe.
early.
Yeah, maybe he will. with his with his 8 touchdowns and 9 interceptions.
He's not been very good this year. I traded for him in a dynasty league
uh,
like a month ago, and I had instant regret because I think he sucks now.
he was not good at play. He's not good at points. No,
No,
he,
he's not.
he is.
If I got points for winning, for him winning,
Oh
then he'd
yeah.
be great.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, that's a.
But I don't.
I truly believe that that's all Andy Reid. Andy Reid is a fucking genius.
Yes,
So
he's been great for like 20 years now.
yes.
He was
Um.
there when Terrell Owens was on the team. That's how
Yeah.
long he's been around.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Well, he was on the original Packers in the 95, 97 when they won the Super Bowl and then lost
Oh,
against Denver.
Denver, yeah.
So can't remember what he was, some sort of assistant coach or I don't know what he was exactly to be honest with you. But
Yeah, he's a genius.
yeah, so been around. So a trade, Deontay Johnson, Panthers to Ravens. Ravens might be good. Might be.
They can't beat Jameis Winston, but it might be good. They absolutely crushed the Bills on Sunday Night Football
Mm-hmm.
a few weeks ago. I I do think the Ravens are definitely a top three team in the AFC, and it's all about Lamar Jackson. He gets to the playoffs, something happens, he throws an interception at the end of the game. He can't seem to get that clutch moment right.
Yeah.
But I think with Deontay Johnson, Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely, Rashad Bateman, I mean, and obviously Derrick Henry running the ball.
Mm-hmm.
That's a crazy good team. And them trading for Deontay is so funny because now that's four AFC teams that have traded for receivers
Yeah,
in the
that's
last
yeah.
3 weeks. We have Amari Cooper to the Bills, Monte Adams to the Jets, DeAndre Hopkins to the Chiefs, Deontay Johnson to the Ravens. It's an arms race over there in the AFC, and everyone in the NFC is like, "Oh, we're good. We got our receivers. We're good."
Well, I just I feel like the AFC has been dominating for the last I don't know 4 years. Um, they've had better teams overall.
Yeah, even the when the Rams won against the Bengals,
Yeah.
I really thought the Bengals should have won that game.
Yeah.
I love Joe Burrow. I'm a big Joe Burrow fan. That was a heartbreaker. But yeah, the AFC definitely seems to have the better like defenses
Yeah.
these days.
Yeah. No, I agree with you on that one. Yeah. Other than that, that's about all I got for the NFL for current events. NBA wise, the one thing, the Jazz player Taylor Hendricks broke his right fibula and dislocated his ankle in a game. I did not go back and watch that, so because I didn't want to see any sort of
I did.
disgusting breaks because I hate leg breaks, especially the lower leg. Uh, Ew, it really grosses me out. Otherwise, any other
Yeah,
break is fine with me.
I saw the replay without even like trying or thinking about it, and it's so crazy to me that this can happen to
Mhm.
like professional basketball players who do this over and over and over in practice. He was literally running down towards the baseline, stopped, and then his leg just snapped, and then he was on the ground. His leg was going like
Oh
this,
God,
and it was like,
no.
geez, he's a rookie, ninth round or ninth overall pick. So yeah, it sucks. But I just can't wrap my mind around like how that happens.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even want to talk about it. Legs gross. Like you can break your arm, like when you're arm wrestling, where it goes snaps back. That doesn't bother me as much. Uh, you can snap your femur, and I guess that doesn't bother me as much. But when it's the lower, I don't know. It just, I don't know. grosses me
that
out
like
the most.
jelly
Yeah,
looking
like
wobble.
it's not
Yeah.
supposed to like bend there. Like, I don't know. Like,
Yeah, it's not fun to watch. I only watched it one time.
like the one I watched, what was it, a couple years ago? Can't remember if it was college or, um,
Louisville.
yeah, when he jumped up and came down, just
Yeah,
oh, yeah, I
that
watched
was the
that one.
worst one I've ever seen.
Yeah, that was. That's why when I was like, I'm not watching this. I don't care.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
So yeah. Other than that, the Magic had some magic.
Yes, they did.
50 points, the fifth highest scoring, by Benchero. Did I say that right?
Yeah, Paulo Benchero.
Benchero, yeah. So that's a lot of points in a game. 50.
Yeah, I know
That's
this guy. I know who he is. I haven't really seen him play, but I was looking at his box scores, and he scores in like the teens a lot.
yeah.
So this just kind of came out of nowhere. He just had the game of his life, I guess. But yeah, pretty crazy.
Yeah, no, that I looked up some of the highest scoring ones. What does Kobe have? Like an 81, I think it was, or something
Yeah.
like that in 2006. So um, definitely there's room to grow, but 50, 50 is amazing. That's a lot of points. That's sometimes half the points of what these teams score. So,
Yeah.
so
Anthony Edwards had 24 points in the first quarter last night, and I
yeah,
was like, here we go. But then he sucked the rest of the game.
he just, I'm going to stop playing. uh, yeah. So that's kind of the NBA. I don't know if you have any other points for the NBA going into
No,
this week.
I think we covered the standings and the
Yeah.
surprises and stuff earlier.
So, but yeah, the only thing with the NHL that I really saw was McDavid of the Oilers. He got injured in a game. Um, I think he's going to be back in. I don't think it's a major injury that it's going to keep him out. Um, so, and I personally didn't know who the Oilers were, um, until the lady that flashed her tits, and that went around. And then I was like, oh, that's the Oilers. And now every time I see the Oilers, there's tits burned into my eyes now. So, so
Yeah, I don't really have anything to add for this one. I don't know who that is.
you don't know who the Oilers are?
No, the player.
I know. So
Edmonton, right?
what?
Edmonton Oilers?
No,
Or is
the
it my, I don't know.
no,
Yeah, Edmonton Oilers, right?
the booby Oilers.
Oh, boobies, yeah. Yeah,
Booby
of
Oilers.
course.
Yeah. So, but yeah, you're right, Edmonton Oilers. So yeah, that's not a lot in the NHL that I could find besides what we've kind of talked about in the recap. Going into NASCAR one more time, they're going into the last race before the championship round. So there's two spots left. Joey Logano and Tyler Reddick are locked into the championship. So there's two spots left. They're going to Martinsville. We'll see who gets the spots. Basically, Tyler Reddick or uh, William Byron and Christopher Bell are in it right now by points, but they're not very far ahead, so someone could definitely knock them out. So we'll see if Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin, Ryan Blaney, or Chase Elliott can get themselves in there. If they win the race, they're locked in. Otherwise, they can point their way in. It'll definitely be pretty crazy, but it's truly not my cup of tea. And as a Larson fan, if he doesn't make it into the championship round, I will not be watching that last race, nor will it be on the show next week. So if you don't like NASCAR, you better be rooting that Kyle Larson doesn't make it in because there'll be no NASCAR talk. So
I'm rooting for Blaney because his name's Ryan, so that's all I have to add there.
Ryan Blaney's really good at this track, so there's a very good shot at him getting in. So, but you can't have any outside factors happen. I guess the last thing on the NASCAR thing that kind of came up that everyone's been talking about, and it's been out there all day today. Connor Jones got suspended from NASCAR because he, excuse me, wrecked Matt Mills on purpose, and Matt Mills had to go to the hospital because his car started on fire. Then he had a bunch of smoke. He inhaled a bunch of smoke. Connor Jones is a punk. So 18-year-old hot shot, and he's not that great of a superstar. Don't get me wrong; he's probably a better racer than I am, but uh, he's a punk. We'll just say that. So he got what he deserved. He probably should have a longer suspension than one race, but hopefully he learns from it. If not, he'll be out of the sport real quick. So
Yeah, it sounds like a dick move.
yeah.
Could have killed the guy.
Yeah, no, it's one thing to spin people out, one thing to do it on a short track, but to do it at Homestead where you go almost 185 miles an hour into the corner, that's a no-no. That's a thing you just leave to video games and you wreck your friends like that on video games, but in real life you can't do that. So
Yeah, you go backwards on the track and try to crash people head on.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's kind of our current events. Before we get into the meat and potatoes and start hammering these out, we're going to talk a little BS.
This is BS.
So Bums and Studs, if you don't know what that is, Bums and Studs is a ranking system that Mustard Cats puts out every week. We do every major sport. We will probably have basketball out maybe at the end of this week. If not, next week it'll be incorporated. Right now, it's NASCAR, then NFL, then hockey, and then basketball will be after that in that order throughout the week. So some notable ones that we had. I'll start with NASCAR just because that was the first one released on Monday. Obviously, Tyler Reddick, banger of a move at the end. So he got the top dog up in the corner there. Michael Jordan looked like a genius over there. Suing NASCAR and just getting into the final race. They might have to hand him a trophy, and he will be suing them. So brilliant there. The next gen car, we can never forget that it's a piece of shit car and NASCAR needs to fix it. That's why it's down in jail, along with Joey Logano, who wasn't even relevant. He in the 22, he wasn't even relevant. Like he's a 15th place driver, and he's gonna race for a championship. That makes zero sense. That's the equivalent of the Jets winning the rest of their games out and then going and winning a Super Bowl. Like that's dumb. Like I'd be like, as much as I would love that, that's stupid. So, so yeah, the kind of notable ones for NASCAR. I don't know if you have anything to add to that NASCAR one at all, or you go with that one.
I'm good with that one.
Perfect. So we go on to the NFL, which drops usually Tuesday. Notable ones, the Lions up in the corner because they've been trucking along and been proving everyone wrong. Well, proving everyone right because they should be up there, at least from last year. For crying out loud. We got Laporta Potty kind of jumping in there. He had a hell of a game. So otherwise, he's been a porta potty. I got the refs down in the clown area because they can't see anything. Obviously, we talked about that. We got a nice group of AFC teams: Jets, New England, and Dolphins all huddled together, while their Buffalo Bills fans are way up in the dog area. So clearly, Buffalo is running that division. The rest of them don't know how to open a doorknob. So, and then obviously we put the Panthers down the bottom corner because they're just absolute trash. So I don't know if you have any places you want to move people or some players specifically. I don't know.
Well, I want to move the Packers down and to the left. Um, I think they're good, but I don't think they're that good. They're a little high in the rankings here. Uh, I also think the Browns will end up sliding to the right because I think Jameis Winston is such a stud. Maybe he should just be in that top right
Well,
quadrant, and
you
maybe,
know,
if you don't want to put the Browns in there.
that's true.
Did you see his post-game interview?
No, I did not. I did not.
He started rapping, well, not rapping. He started saying "Lose Yourself" by Eminem in his post-game interview. It was fantastic. The guy is a quote machine. says the funniest stuff. He has the greatest pregame speeches. He's very passionate, and it doesn't all seem real. But that's just Jameis for you, and he's a great player.
Well,
And
he
sorry, go
might
ahead.
if they win again, maybe he goes, into the stud, the goated area. He might. That's 2 in a row then. I don't know if I can put the Browns though in it,
Okay,
but
okay.
maybe just
Yeah,
him.
yeah.
The Browns,
Jameis deserves it if he gets the win.
yeah,
And I totally agree with the Lions. They should be way the hell up there. Chiefs, I'm fine with. The Dolphins, I don't think they're going to be down there for too long. I think, but they'll stay there this week.
yeah.
But because
Two,
the Bills are probably going to kick their ass. But I do think with Tua back, they're going to be a lot more exciting, and they're going to be a lot more stud. They're still probably going to be frauds.
yeah,
They're not dogs, but that offense is going to be awesome with Tyreek Hill.
yeah. No, I agree with you. They could definitely get themselves out of jail pretty easily because Tua's back. So Tua runs that offense. So
Yeah.
um, moving on to hockey. I don't do too much of the hockey charts, but notable ones. My Sharks are down in jail because they just absolute trash. I'm really sad that the Anaheim Ducks are down in jail too because I do like the Mighty Ducks movie. Uh, so you got that there. You as Minnesota fans, you do have the Wild. They are just creeping at the bottom line there. They're slightly in that goated area. They're not high in it, but they're just in it. So that's kind of good. Obviously, you got Nathan McKinnon and Connor up there in the corner because they've been studs. I don't know if I agree with the Avalanche pick, but I don't always make these, so I'm just a part of some of it. So I
Yeah,
can't speak on all of it.
there might be a little bit of bias going on there if the Avalanche are that
There might
much
be.
higher than the Wild, and the Wild are ahead of them in the standings. Just saying.
You could be right. You could be right.
Pass that along.
Uh, I'll let them know. So yeah, but overall, that's kind of the chart. I don't know if you got any discrepancies besides that Avalanche one.
Nope. Yep. I'm happy the Wild are in that quadrant in
That
general.
quadrant. Perfect. So yeah, if you haven't seen the BS rankings, check us out. It's on all of our social medias. Comes out every week. It's fun stuff. It's not always 1,000% true, but if you are a fan of that team, you'll enjoy it. If not, you'll be like, "This is the worst thing ever." So leave some comments down there because I love responding because I'm usually the person to respond. So sometimes I'll be like, "Yeah, you're right," or "Yeah, right, pal." Um, but yeah, let's get into the meat and potatoes and let's knock this out so I can get a win because I want to win. I
No.
need a win.
No.
Need it. Um, so starting off, everyone that doesn't know what the Mustard Cat Challenge part is, it is a 30-point possible challenge, and it's me, the host, versus Ryan, the guest. We're going to go through a bunch of different scenarios, teams, and we'll choose which one we want. The last game always ends on Monday Night Football. When that game ends, whoever has the most amount of points, which if you get it right, you get a point. If you get it wrong, you just don't get any points. So there's no negative points, nothing like that. You only get points when you get it right. Whoever has the highest amount of points at the end of that wins it. I unfortunately have not won it, and I would like a win. If I do lose, which I've lost every single one except I had a tie, if you put a punishment down in the comments and whatever punishment gets the most likes, it can't just be a punishment with no likes. It has to be a punishment with the most likes. I have to do that punishment, record it, post it, just like the 999 challenge, just like that flag in the background, just like I have to be a Minnesota Vikings fan and wear a jersey, post it on all my social media. So, so
You're
please
welcome.
go put a punishment, please. I freaking love it. Other than that, that's the game. And the one thing that I do want to stress, because this will 100% happen, if anyone, either me or the guest that is ever on the show, gets all 30, goes 30 for 30, you will get a 30 for 30 ESPN about your life, a parody. If I have to drive down and take video and do all that, it will happen because anyone that gets all 30 deserves it. So that's 1,000%.
I'll start getting my childhood videos ready to send you.
Perfect. So that's a game. We're gonna get started. There's no baseball because baseball is over now because the LA Dodgers won. If you didn't
I was
know,
gonna pick them too. I was gonna pick them.
well, you know
I
what?
was gonna
Sorry,
pick the Dodgers.
doesn't count. Doesn't count at all. Um, let's get started with some Thursday night football. We have the Houston Texans. Jeez, 6-2.
You
What?
did type Texas on the agenda. That's
Oh
probably
yeah,
why you said
did
it.
did. Well,
Sorry. Go ahead.
my reading skills are subpar, so usually I add like letters and words. So that's kind of crazy. I read it correctly. Perfect. But we got the 6-2 Houston Texans at the 2-6 New York Jets. Do you want me to go first? I know who I'm going to pick, but do you want to
I'm
start?
gonna take this one first. Yep.
Okay.
So I'm gonna pick the same as you on this one.
Okay. Well, how do you
Um,
know I'm picking?
because you love Aaron Rodgers. So the Texans, without Diggs, without Nico Collins,
Yeah.
they're going to struggle. Stroud against the Vikings and Packers this year, that's their two losses. He's been terrible. And those defenses were both really good. And I think the Jets defense is still good. I think they'll get back on track and the Jets will take it in a close game.
Okay. You are right. I'm taking the Jets. You won't ever really see me take the Texans. CJ Stroud drives me absolutely fucking bonkers. That guy is. After he made that comment about Aaron Rodgers, I was just like, screw this guy. Guy's my mortal enemy now. So I don't want anything bad to happen to him, but I definitely don't want him to fucking win. So yeah, I'm taking the Jets. So don't steer me wrong, Jets. You got 2 wins. Just get a third win. You got more wins than me. So and they're in the black jerseys. So you know,
Ooh,
they look
those
good.
are going to look cool.
So they're gonna do good. Moving on, still on Thursday, we're moving to some NHL. We got the Booby Oilers at the Nashville Predators. Who you taking?
You go first.
Oh, you want me to go first? Well, taking the boobies. So Oilers it is.
Well, I looked at the standings and both these teams are terrible. The Oilers are minus 13 in goals and the Predators are minus 8. I've actually been to the Nashville Stadium. I watched a
Yeah.
playoff hockey game there 3 years ago.
Mhm.
So I'm going with the Predators. We're different.
Okay. Yeah, I've been down. I've never been in the stadium, but I saw the outside. Looks pretty cool.
Mhm.
But
Good
yeah,
time.
do you like how I picked that one? Both just trash
Oh,
teams, like just not a clue who's gonna.
yeah, I know. I was like, what am I supposed to do with this?
So yeah, there we go. Continuing on Thursday, we have one NBA game that we're picking, and it is the Phoenix Suns at the LA Clippers.
Yeah, so this one I was looking at,
Mhm.
and the Clippers, they're going to be on a back-to-back. So that means, a game
Yeah, they were.
today, a game tomorrow.
Mhm.
Um,
They're both
but
at
they
home.
also beat,
Are they both
sorry,
at
what?
home?
They're both at home, yeah. If
Okay,
I think if they have a back-to-back, they're usually
they're at home. Okay.
usually both at home, maybe not. But the Clippers, they have beat the Nuggets and the Warriors this year. So that makes me a little nervous. The Suns did beat them in OT last week, though, in LA. And so for that reason, I'm going with the Suns.
You're going with the Suns. Okay. Jeepers creepers. Um, See, I picked this game because I wanted to go with the Suns too. Um,
But now
but
you're going to switch.
God, nope. I'm sticking with the same one. Um, I effed myself over too much last week by going opposite. I gotta stay strong with that. So I'm going Phoenix. Staying with
Yeah,
Phoenix
that's fair.
just because of that.
Stick with your picks. I don't blame you.
because I got a few other mulligans that I'm gonna use later in it. So I can't use them all right away.
Okay.
So moving on to Friday in the NHL, we got 3 games to pick from, and the first one is the Florida Panthers at the Dallas Stars. Do you want me to go first, or you know who you get?
Nope. You can go.
You want me? Okay. Well, I think the Florida Panthers is the dumbest fucking logo ever, and no Panther would live down in Florida. So I'm taking Dallas Stars.
This one, both teams, they are very good.
Uh-huh.
And this was the only game that Vegas had the odds for on Friday for NHL, and it
Mhm.
was literally dead even. There's no favorite. So I I wrote down the Stars, but
Okay.
knowing that you're taking the Stars and the Panthers are the defending champs, I'm going to go with the Panthers.
All right. Go with the stupid Panthers. On to game two. Um, Tampa Bay Lightning at the Minnesota Wild. Is it safe to say you're going to go with the Wild, or are you switching it up?
I cannot count on Minnesota teams if I'm going to beat you. So I'm going to go with the Lightning. This is a even matchup on paper. Um, and yeah, I don't want to be double let down
Okay.
by Minnesota.
Well, I'm going the Wild.
You
So if
got
they do win, you're like, yeah, the Wild. Oh fuck.
so I am
So
going to be double let down
uh,
if they win.
and they're at
Oh
home.
man.
I think they're going to do good. They're at
Well,
home.
no, I'm gonna be let down no matter what, basically.
You are, yeah, you are. It's
Well,
it's a
good luck
lose.
with that.
It's a lose lose. You can't win.
Picking Minnesota teams is a curse. Good luck.
Thanks. I found that out last week. Last one is the New Jersey Devils at the Calgary Flames. You want me to pick this one? All right, good. I really, 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 really like both these teams, but there's something about saying Calgary that I just like. And I'm hot on these home teams right now, so I'm taking Calgary.
All I wrote down was shout out to Martin Brodeur, the old goalie for the Devils when I was growing up.
Okay.
Devils all the way, baby.
All right. Well, look at that. You took all the away teams. I took the home teams.
I don't like it, but it is what it is.
Hey, you gotta. Continuing with Friday, we got some NBA. New York Knicks at Detroit Pistons. Who are you taking?
I was just gonna look up real quick, but I'm pretty sure Karl Anthony Towns, 44 points, 13 rebounds tonight. The Pistons are terrible. Knicks are gonna win.
Wow. This is one of my mulligans.
Ooh.
Pistons are going to prove everyone wrong because it's a piston. Yeah, you're doing a piston motion. It's up, down.
I'm celebrating the free win for me here.
So they're going to win. You're going to be super mad. You're going to be like, oh, I can't believe I didn't pick the Pistons. Um, and New York's depressed now. So, the basketball team's going to be depressed. Everyone's just going to be depressed. So, but the LA Lakers are going to the Toronto Raptors.
This one's an easy pick.
LA.
LeBron James and the refs.
So I love Raptors. I was going to take the Raptors. I'm not taking the Raptors because I took the mulligan with the Pistons. So I'm going to follow you with the Lakers.
That's fair.
Otherwise, I like the Raptors logo. Not their new one, the old little Raptor. So,
Oh, I loved Vince Carter, so I'm Raptors are cool.
so, but yeah, I'm taking LA. Third game, Denver Nuggets at the Timberwolves.
So I was initially going to pick the Wolves
Mm.
because the Nuggets were struggling,
Mm-hmm.
but then I watched the Wolves last night and they sucked. And the Nuggets, I'm pretty sure dominated the
Yeah.
Brooklyn Nets. Um, This is a real toss-up,
Do you want me to
and this
pick?
is
Because
another
I can
one.
tell you who I'm going to pick.
All right, go ahead, go ahead.
I'm taking the Denver Nuggets because I don't believe in the Timber Puppies. Does that make you mad?
Hmm. See, I was about to pick the Nuggets, but now I don't know.
I know. That's why.
I'm
That's
going Nuggets. I'm going Nuggets.
okay.
The Wolves showed me they can't rebound worth a damn, and Jokic is going to dominate us.
Well,
So I'm
at
nervous.
least now, if they win, it's a positive because we don't get any points, and you get
That's true.
so.
Yeah, you don't get a point.
Yeah, you don't get a
That's all that
point,
matters.
but you get a win. So, last one is the Oklahoma City Thunder at the Portland Trailblazers.
Yeah, I'll take this one. The Thunder are the best team in the West, and the Blazers are not. So I'm gonna go with the Thunder.
This could be another mulligan here. I'm taking the Portland Trailblazers because I
Yeah.
got a soft spot for Trailblazers. And I've never been to Portland, but I can imagine it
What
would
does that
be,
even mean?
I could imagine if I had a Trailblazer and I was driving around Portland, I would
Oh,
be in
like the
heaven.
car.
Yeah.
I thought you meant like people trailblazing, their own
Oh,
path or something.
yeah. Well, if I trailblaze my path well enough in life, I could afford a Trailblazer and I could drive around in Portland and maybe watch the Portland Trailblazers kick the Kansas City Thunder's ass. So there you go.
Oh, hey, that's logic I cannot argue with.
You know, that's what builds championship teams. You go into the locker room, you tell them that, hey, you can afford a Trailblazer too if you just trailblaze your fucking life.
You don't think these NBA players can't afford a trailblazer already?
Not a chance. All right. Moving on to Saturday, probably my favorite day, college football. I
Oh
love
yeah.
college football. I
Oh yeah.
I don't have a dog in the fight, but I fucking love watching it. There's always something going on. It's probably one of the only sports that if you don't have a dog in the fight, you can literally sit down and watch it and be like, wow, okay.
Exactly.
So, um, our first one, which I absolutely love, is the 6-2 Blue Devils at the 8-0 Miami Hurricanes, who are ranked number 5. Do you want me to go first, or do you have a strong opinion? Because I have a strong opinion. Uh, this is a little controversial, but there's a hurricane down there. There's a hurricane brewing because they're 8-0. Miami's gonna win. It's clear cut. It's not even gonna be close. Miami has this. I'm taking Miami. If you didn't know.
Okay, I'm taking Miami too. They
Oh yeah.
have they have the potential Heisman winner Cam Ward, and they're just rolling. I think they're going to win by 20 plus.
All right. Fine. What do you think about this one? The 6-1 Ohio State Buckeyes ranked 4 at the 7-0 Penn State Lions ranked 3.
I hate that you put this one on here. This one was one of the hardest ones to pick
I
because
know.
the Ohio State coach Ryan Day. I randomly saw this stat last week, and so when you put this on here, he's 2-7 versus top 5 teams.
Mm-hmm.
So he doesn't win against them very often. But I also think Penn State might be a little overrated and in a spot where they're probably going to choke. So I'm going to pick Ohio State.
Okay. Hey, yeah, I can appreciate that. Um, I'm just gonna go with Penn State because they're 7-0. I have no real
It's a
reason.
toss up.
I have no real
Yeah,
reason. I will
pick the
say
home
this:
team.
um, Ohio, the state, pisses me off in general because they're not a Midwest state, but they always try and claim they're a Midwest state. They're not Midwest, so eat a
They're a little
dick.
too far east.
Yeah, eat a dick. You're gonna lose. They're too far east. So like, they'd be it would be like a mid, even though we call ourselves Midwest, but it would be like a West mid. So you'd have to put West mid because they're closer to the West side than the middle. Like
Yeah, yeah.
Indiana is in between them. Like I would say Indiana's closer to the Midwest, but no.
Yeah, Indiana doesn't claim to be Midwest, do they?
Hmm, I think technically they are, but
Oh, they, okay. Yeah, I guess.
there's a they need another division over there.
Yeah, they just need their own like region.
I know that's what they need. So I have a stigma against them, so they can lose and then go back home to their Midwest state. uh, game three though, man, this one drives me insane. 5-3 Minnesota Golden Gophers at the 6-2 Illinois Fighting Olina. Did I say that right?
Illini.
Oh,
Illini.
Olina. God.
Yeah, yeah.
God.
Sean told you last week. You don't remember?
Yeah, well, you can go back and literally watch every single one. Even the one back when I faced Gary, I didn't even say it right. It just pisses me
Oh
off.
yeah,
But
you said like Illini or something.
yeah, Illinois, like, yeah, dumb. Uh, they're ranked 24. Gophers are not ranked. Sheepers, creepers. Um, not a huge Minnesota fan, but I kind of want to pick them because just their name pisses me off over on the other side. But Illinois has been really good, so I guess I shouldn't say really good, but they've been good. I've not picked them. I've picked them. They've fucked me. They've not fucked me. Who are you gonna pick? Maybe I'll just go off of whatever you don't.
Well, what I wrote down was the Gophers are favored on the road
Oh,
against a
are
ranked
they?
opponent. What could go wrong? Oh wait, it's Minnesota sports. I'm picking Illinois.
Well, then I'm gonna go opposite. I'm taking Minnesota. Those Gophers better not let me down, and those freaking Wild better not let me down.
Let's
So
go Illini.
yeah, enjoy the trains or the Indians or whatever that
Does it
is.
make you grit your teeth when you hear it? The Illini.
Yeah, it's a stupid name. Like even if they would have left it Illinois Fighting and just left it like that, I'd be like, oh, that's more intriguing than.
Fighting
Oh,
Illini.
God, don't even get me started on that. That NASCAR and stupid logos. You get me going. But the last college one, which I think will be a pretty good one, and it's a late game. The 7-0 Pittsburgh Panthers, ranked 18, at the 7-1 SMU Mustangs, ranked 20. Do you know who you want? Because I kind of already
No,
pointed out.
you
You want
you
me to
can
go?
take this one.
Okay. So I don't know. There's something against me and Panthers. Just really not a big Panthers fan. I like the cat in general. Like when I go to a zoo, cool cat. Something about being on like a football helmet, basketball, soccer, could be on like an ice cream truck. I just don't like it. So I'm taking the Mustangs.
I am too.
uh,
I was looking and Pitt, they've squeaked out a lot of wins against bad teams, and I'm like, I don't think I can trust them. Uh, and SMU is their only losses to the number 9 ranked team, BYU. And they're at home, so I have to take the Mustangs.
yeah, well, and a horse is going to outrun a panther. You know, you would hope. Maybe not, but
Maybe. I don't
yeah,
know. We should
yeah,
fact check that one.
yeah. So yeah, someone just let us know in the comments because I'm too lazy to look it up. Put it in kilometers, not in miles per hour. Kilometers. I can read that better.
It's faster.
Um, on to Sunday, which I love Sunday because we got NASCAR and football, and I'm rocking an iPad, a TV with Red Zone, my phone. I'm just geared out. I love Sundays. Um, we'll go with NASCAR first, and they're at Martinsville. And the question is, does a Chevy win at Martinsville? Yes or no? Do you have a definitive answer, or do you want me to go and you defer to it? Because I know what I want.
You can go since this is your area of expertise.
Well, I haven't won a lot, so I'm going yes, Chevy. Not just because Kyle Larson. He's a Chevy driver. But we also have William Byron and Chase Elliott. So those three are trying to get in the playoffs. Those are three really good Chevys going up against two Toyotas and a Ford. Obviously, other people can win, but those six guys are going to be going at it hard. Like they're going to want to win. So
Yeah, when I was looking this one up, I couldn't decide. There was I think three Chevys in the top six for odds, and that's all I'm basing this on. But Ryan Blaney does not drive a Chevy, so I said no.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, he's very good. That would be the one person that scares me. More than Bell and Hamlin, Blaney definitely scares me there. So I could see that happening. So thanks a lot. On to NFL though. Here we go. Noon games. Good one here. Real good one. Probably my favorite game of the week. Gonna be a banger. 2-6 New Orleans Saints at the 1-7 Carolina Panthers. I'm taking Carolina Panthers. They're getting their second win. They're at home. They're going to teach those New Orleans Saints a lesson. New Orleans was a really good team the first like 3 games, and then they fell off the cliff. Obviously, they lost their quarterback, but they are nobodies. New Orleans Saints probably is going to be running for first to try and get a first round pick. Carolina all the way.
I wrote here on my sheet, if you pick the Bryce Young led Panthers, you are insane. So congratulations. I got the Saints. Derek Carr might be back too, is what they're saying.
Oh,
You can't change your pick though.
yeah, I already marked it. You can't erase it. There's no erasers on these. Well, thanks a lot. I'm glad you put that on your sheet to remind yourself. So thanks. Uh, second game, the 6-2 Washington Commanders, who were really good at the 2-6 New York Giants. I don't know how I can't not pick the Commanders, so I'm going Commanders.
Yeah, I said I hope Malik Neighbors does well because I have him on a few
Mhm.
fantasy teams, but Washington is definitely the pick. Washington football team is what I prefer. I'm with you. I don't like the name Commanders.
Yeah, I would agree with you. If they're gonna stick with the W on the helmet and be generic like that, just stick with Washington football team with that W, because then at least you look generic. But the fact
Yeah.
that you say your name is Washington Commanders and then you put a W on there, like, come on.
Yeah, at
Like,
least put a guy with a gun or something
yeah,
on there,
yeah,
you know.
something. Like I know, like anything besides a W. Unless you're gonna like, I truly didn't have a problem with Washington football team. It sounded like a college or a high school team, but at least the W made sense. So,
Exactly, exactly.
but whatever. I'm not in charge of that team. Um, this one, this one. So this one got me thinking. The 2-5 Miami Dolphins at the 6-2 Buffalo Bills. The reason why it got me thinking is one, Tua is back, and it's not his first game back, so now he's getting back to acclimated with the team. I don't think the Buffalo Bills are that good of a team. They are at home, but I'm looking for an upset. Let's go Miami.
All right. I took the Bills. Last time they played was when Tua got hurt, and the Bills were already dominating that game, and that was in Miami. So I can't see it. I can't. Maybe Tyreek Hill gets 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's the only way I think they win.
Well, Tyreek Hill's not going to be driving to the game this time, so he'll be on time. um, Game 4, the 4-3 LA Chargers, who I don't know who they really are, at the 2-6 Cleveland Browns, who have obviously reemerged as something. I'll
Yeah,
let I'll
you
let
know
you
where I'm
go.
going.
You're gonna
Yeah,
go Cleveland?
It's Jameis season. Jameis is winning this game. Chargers, I don't know who they are either.
No,
They seem to have a good defense. They try to run the ball a lot. They don't really do that well at it. Justin Herbert finally threw a bunch of yards last game, so
yeah,
that's their best chance. But I think the Browns defense is actually pretty legit, as they showed against the Ravens. So
yeah.
the Chargers run game's gonna fail. and they're going to try to force some passes, and Jameis is going to throw 3 touchdowns like a stud.
I am going to go the opposite with LA Chargers. I don't know who they are, but when the right team shows up on the field, they're good. Not great, but they're good. And I think that's all I need to do to beat the Browns. So
It'll be
hopefully,
a close game.
hopefully they show up right. If they don't, well, I'm looking like an idiot.
Their best chance is if it's like some low scoring, like 17-14 type game, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah. Game 5, another banger. The 2-6 New England Patriots at the 1-6 Tennessee Titans. You can lead this banger since I led the other one.
I wrote down this game is gross. This is my least favorite game on the agenda. I This one's tough because I think if Drake May plays for the Patriots, they
Yeah,
could definitely win. But if he doesn't, I don't see how it happens. And he just got a concussion last week. So with how concussions have been going this year, it seems like it takes a week or two to get back.
yeah.
And so with that in mind, I have to take the Titans.
Hmm. Titans, you say? Well, I'm going the opposite way because New England is a okay team, not a bad team. They look bad, they smell bad, but it only takes a little bit of a cleansing of a shower and then they look good. So they're going to win. Tennessee Titans are jokes. They're basically the same thing as New Orleans Saints. They're both going to be fighting for first round picks. So there we go.
All right. I like it.
Uh, Game 6, the 3-4 Dallas Cowboys, or I should say the 3-4 Jerry Jones at the 5-3 Atlanta Falcons. I'm taking Falcons all the way. They look like the better team. They're more consistent. It's not Jerry Jones's team. I love Jerry Jones. I love everything about what he does, but they're they're trash.
Jerry Jones is the Terrell Owens of owners. He's very entertaining. But he doesn't always make the best decisions when it comes to the football team. Um, I I wrote down both these teams are frauds, in my
Oh,
opinion.
okay.
I think Kirk Cousins,
Yeah,
his only two good games this year were against the Buccaneers. And the
yeah.
Cowboys, they're a dome team. Falcons playing a dome. I think a upset's brewing here. I'm going to pick the Cowboys.
Hmm. Okay, okay. I don't hate that. But I do agree with you. Jerry Jones, yeah. I wish he could have some success because I feel like we could see a he's already nuts enough. Like we could see like crazy Jerry like winning. That'd be crazy.
Yeah,
That's
it's
a lot
been
of
30
crazy.
years. He was like what, 60 at that time? Now he's like 90.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
Did you see what happened on the radio with him?
no, I
He
didn't.
like he does this weekly radio station interview,
Mhm.
and they started like questioning him and doubting his team making capabilities.
Yeah,
And he basically said, "I'll replace you if you keep asking me these types of questions." And he's not their employer. So it was really funny. He got so mad, and then the next week he came on and he's like, "Yeah, we're all friends here. I just got worked up in the
yeah.
moment." But he looked like an ass.
Well, that's kind of what Jerry Jones does. Love him, hate him, but I love like if he ever left the NFL, I would be a little sad. Like
Yeah, I agree.
you'd miss a little bit of Jerry. So
Yeah, kind
keeping
of like Al Davis when he passed away. He was
yeah
he was a
yeah
pretty
the
legendary owner.
Raiders yeah yeah
Yeah.
yeah. So it I enjoy it. Keep it going.
Oh yeah.
Uh, Speaking of the Raiders, we got the 2-6 Las Vegas Raiders at the 3-5 Cincinnati Bengals. Jeepers creepers, can the Bengals put anything together? Ugh. Um.
You want to hiccup?
Long, awkward pause. I'm taking Raiders because I pulled Burrow on my fantasy team and he's sitting on my bench. And if that little mutt goes off, I'm going to be irritated. So I'm taking Las Vegas.
Well, don't change your pick, but do change your lineup because Burrow's going to go off this week. He just said today that this is a must win, and when he says something, you got to take it serious. Joe Burrow, He's a dog,
Uh,
and he's going to dominate this game, and you're going to put him in the dog quadrant.
God. Um, I hope you're wrong, but last one of the noon games. 5-3 Denver Broncos. How the hell are they 5-3? At the 5-3 Baltimore Ravens, I don't know what it is with me and Denver this year. I love their colors. I love the horse. They just piss me off this year. Just don't like them. Don't like their fans. Don't like anything about them. And Baltimore better do something this week. So I'm taking Baltimore.
Too. We forgot to say I hate their coach.
Oh, yeah.
Butthole mouth.
Yeah. That's right. Yes.
I'll say it again. Fuck Sean Payton.
So you're taking Denver?
I'm taking the Ravens. It
Uh,
wasn't clear. I mean,
well, that goes for the noon games. On to the afternoon games. Good Lord, another trash fucking fire one. 4-3 Chicago Butts at the 4-4 Arizona Rats. Uh, oh
I want to
man,
know what you're going to go with here.
this is a toss up. So both of them are trash. The top of this light can is the Cardinals, the bottom's the Bears, because bottom is Butts. Bottom. Bears are winning, I guess.
That's who I'm picking too. Both the
Oh,
quarterbacks are bipolar. They don't know who the fuck they are. But Kyler Murray, he's just bad against good defenses, kind of like CJ Stroud.
yeah,
And I think the Bears have a better defense than the Cardinals, so that's why I was picking the Bears.
I can agree with you there. They always usually traditionally have a better defense, but yeah, it's a gross game.
It's gross. It's a hard game to pick.
That's more gross and atrocious than the New Orleans and Panthers and the um, New England and Tennessee game. And those
I don't know, at least
guys,
these teams have 4 wins, right?
yeah, I know. I don't know. I don't know how they have that many wins. Fucked up year. The 2-6 Jacksonville Jaguars, who have more wins than me, at the 5-2 Philadelphia Eagles. I have to go with the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't know why the Jaguars would win.
Yeah, I
So
mean, the Jaguars don't have Christian Kirk, they don't have Brian Thomas. Trevor Lawrence is going to be throwing to Evan Ingram all day. Like, yeah, Eagles easy.
you sure?
Positive.
Okay, I already marked it, so it's in. Um, the 3-4 LA Rams at the 4-4 Seattle Seahawks. Crying out loud, it's like just toss up after toss up after toss up. Ugh. I'm sticking with the home team and I'm going Seattle.
That's what I'm doing too. Both these teams they are good one week and bad the next.
I know.
And Stafford looked great last week with his weapons back, but I don't know. Seattle got blown out. I think they're gonna come back strong at home.
Okay, you want Seattle?
Yep.
It's marked. Last game in the afternoon, the 6-1 Detroit Lions at the 6-2 Green Bay Packers. This will either be a shootout or Detroit's going to just clobber them. But I'm going with Green Bay because I got to go with them.
Thank you for going with Green Bay because the Lions are gonna kick their ass.
So you want me to put the Lions down?
Well, for sure.
Okay, I marked it.
Give me that point right now.
I think that'll be a good game. Or it's going to be a slaughter. One of the two. Um, Moving on to our last two games. Sunday Night Football, the 4-4 Indianapolis Colts at the 5-2 Minnesota Vikings. Jeepers creepers. I feel like the Vikings should win this, but they've kind of, I guess it depends what refs show up, ones that want to help them or not. But I picked them last week. They fucked me. I can't get that flag down, so I'm taking the Colts.
This one really makes me nervous because the Colts announced Joe Flacco is going to be the starter, and
Uh,
he's so much better as a passer than Anthony Richardson, and the Vikings defense can't defend the pass nowadays. But I broke my streak. I'm picking the Vikings.
okay, okay.
One Minnesota team. They better do me right.
It's
Because
true.
if we lose this one, the season's over. So I'm going all in.
All right. All right. Hey, if you ever want, I can mail you that flag for free. So
It has a Packer logo on it. I'd probably just throw it in my fire pit.
well, I can cut that side off. Just send you the Viking side.
I am a little bit divided as a Viking fan,
Yeah,
so
I know. So
it
it'll
still
work
makes
out.
sense.
Yeah. Last game, Monday night. I don't even think I should name the other team. It's just the Kansas City Chiefs.
That's the Kansas City Chiefs. The Baker has no weapons and no defense, and Mahomes has the refs. So who's gonna
Uh,
win?
yeah, it's the 4-4 Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the 7-0 Chiefs. God, are you going with
You have to pick
Kansas
the
City?
Chiefs, right?
You going with
Yeah.
Chief?
Come on, do it. Pick the
Uh,
Bucks. Do it.
you know what? I don't want to cheer for the Chiefs. Fucking hate them. I'm going Tampa Bay. They're gonna
Oh,
pull.
thank you.
They're gonna pull something out of their ass. They're gonna do something. God dang it!
If this is the one I lose on, I'm gonna be very sad.
Oh well. The last question. It's a three question, or it's three answers. You can pick between them. Patrick Mahomes has 8 touchdowns and 9 interceptions right now. After Monday night's game, will he have more interceptions than touchdowns? Letter A. Will he have more touchdowns than interceptions? Letter B. Or will he have a tie and have the same C?
It's a tough one because he's down one right now.
Mm-hmm.
I was between A and C. If he doesn't throw one on Monday, it'll definitely be A. And I think that's what he's going to do. I think we're going to have a clean game. He's going to have at least 2 touchdowns, hopefully 3, just in case he throws one pick. So I'm going more. Oh, I'm sorry. B. I
You're on
meant
B.
B.
Okay.
I'm going more
More
touchdowns than
touchdowns.
interceptions. That's what I meant to say.
Okay. Perfect. Because I went more interceptions because that Tampa defense is going to do some work. And that's how they're going to win. Because,
They, they could get a couple picks.
so,
I think you have to commit to it since you picked the Bucks. You got to commit
yeah.
to the interceptions.
And I know that, you know, Patrick Mahomes isn't that good of a quarterback, and it's his coaching staff that is carrying him. So, and
Well,
the refs and the refs, I can't leave them
the
out.
refs, yes.
Can't leave them now. So,
Dude, his fake going out of bounds and then running up the
oh
sideline the other
yeah,
week pissed me off
oh yeah,
because if the guy hit him, he's getting a flag.
oh yeah. No, that is criminal. That does I he should have been in. I should have put him in the fraud area in jail, but it didn't. But yeah, because like defenses are told not to hit a quarterback because they can, get a flag for it. And then he does that. That just like you're playing with fire there, buddy.
That was nonsense. But he has DeAndre Hopkins now. I think him and Kelsey will both get a touchdown this week.
Well, we will find out. Um, that's all the points. We'll see what happens. Everyone, make sure you follow everything Mustard Cats. Follow us on YouTube. Put a punishment down in the comments. Make sure you get some likes on there because if I lose, I have to commit to that. Unless it's something atrocious or illegal, then I will not do that. But do you got anything else to say, Ryan? Some
Oh, thanks
trash
for having
talk.
me on.
You
Oh,
know,
I took my trash talk on Sean Payton and the Packers and you, terrible picks. If I lose this week, I'm never gonna live it down. So thank you for picking some really bad picks. I think I'm feeling pretty confident. But yeah, thanks for having me on. It was a lot of fun. I hope to do it again. And yeah, I'm going to keep supporting the show. I'm going to like the comment that comes in from Barnes too. I know there's going to be something from him.
well, I appreciate you coming on. It's always fun having you on, not Barnes. But yeah, we'll definitely have you back on again. And again, I will say this till I get my fucking win. If you lose, I will have you on the next week if you really want, just so I can get another win. But yeah, again, appreciate you coming on. Hopefully you do mediocre at best and I do really good, because that'll just, then I can just, spew your name all over social media. But if not, I'll take the number 8 loss.
Well, good luck this week, man. I think we had a good show.
Yeah, no, it was fun. And again, everyone, follow, subscribe. And next week, I will tell you this: there might be a repeat guest. If not, we'll have a new one. So either way, we have a guest, but there might be a repeat. So, and it might be you, Ryan. So everyone, have a wonderful day. Go watch some sports this weekend. Get pissed, punch your couch, have some beers, and don't forget, Ryan, say it. It's Halloween.
Go Vikings!
Oh God, no! It's Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
See you later, folks.